A travel document is an identity document issued by a government or international treaty organization to facilitate the movement of individuals or small groups of persons across international boundaries. Travel documents usually assure other governments that the bearer may return to the issuing country, and are often issued in booklet form to allow other governments to place visas as well as entry and exit stamps into them. The most common travel document is a passport, which usually gives the bearer more privileges like visa-free access to certain countries. However, the term is sometimes used only for those documents which do not bear proof of nationality, such as a refugee travel document. Passport. In general, a passport is a travel document that also serves as proof of nationality from the issuing country. Although generally accepted by the majority of countries in the world, some issuing countries expressly exclude the validity of passports from nations that are not recognized by the governments. Non-citizen passports. Latvia and Estonia. Non-citizens in Latvia and Estonia are individuals, primarily of Russian or Ukrainian ethnicity, who are not citizens of Latvia or Estonia but whose families have resided in the area since the Soviet era, and thus have the right to a non-citizen passport issued by the Latvian government as well as other specific rights. Approximately two-thirds of them are ethnic Russians, followed by ethnic Belarusians, ethnic Ukrainians, ethnic Poles and ethnic Lithuanians. Non-citizens in the two countries are issued special non-citizen passports as opposed to regular passports issued by the Estonian and Latvian authorities to citizens. This form of legal discrimination is often labeled as xenophobic. American Samoa. Although all U.S. citizens are also U.S. nationals, the reverse is not true. As specified in 8 U.S.C. Section 1408, a person whose only connection to the U.S. is through birth in an outlying possession, or through descent from a person suborn, acquires U.S. nationality but not U.S. citizenship. This was formerly the case in only 4 other current or former U.S. overseas possessions. The U.S. passport issued to non-citizen nationals contains the endorsement code 9, which states, "The bearer is a United States national and not a United States citizen." On the annotations page, non-citizen U.S. nationals may reside and work in the United States without restrictions, and may apply for citizenship under the same rules as resident aliens. Like resident aliens, they are not presently allowed by any U.S. state to vote in federal or state elections, although, as with resident aliens, there is no constitutional prohibition against their doing so. Israeli travel documents. The Israeli authorities maintain a unique system of travel documents issued to Palestinian citizens outside Palestinian Authority-administered areas, Syrians residing in the Golan Heights, and to certain Israeli citizens. Naturalized Israeli citizens. People who immigrate to Israel are generally not eligible for an Israeli passport until they have resided in Israel for at least 75% of the first year of citizenship. Such citizens are issued a travel document in lieu of national passport in the first year of citizenship. UN travel documents. The United Nations and the International Labour Organization issue laissez-passes to officials and members of the UN and other specialized agencies, as well as to several international organizations. The laissez-passer is also issued to the families for official use. The United Nations laissez-passer is similar to a passport, and is generally recognized worldwide, although some countries will not accept the document as sufficient to gain entry. It does not generally confer diplomatic immunity but may confer limited immunities and privileges. Between 2000 and 2010, the United Nations Interim Administration Mission in Kosovo issued travel documents to residents of Kosovo as they were often not able to obtain a passport through other channels. Aliens and refugees. Refugee travel document. A passport-like booklets issued by national governments to refugees under the 1951 Convention relating to the status of refugees. 1954 Convention travel documents are similar documents issued to stateless persons under the 1954 Convention relating to the status of stateless persons. The document is the successor of the League of Nations Nansen passport. Aliens passports and certificates of identity. A passport-like booklets issued by national governments to resident foreigners, other than those issued under the 1951 and 1954 conventions mentioned above. However, some governments issue certificates of identity to their own nationals as emergency passports. Other documents as travel documents. Several other groups of documents issued for a different purpose officially serve as travel documents, generally for a limited set of countries. Such documents are discussed below. National identity card. Identity cards are generally issued as a means of identification within a country, but in some cases they may also be used as a travel document. For example, EU, EEA and Swiss citizens can use the national identity cards to exercise the right of free movement in the EU, EEA and Switzerland without a visa. They can also visit most other countries in Europe as well as a few countries and territories outside Europe. Similarly, citizens of most South American countries can use their ID cards for travel between the countries. A U.S. passport card can be regarded an identity card fit for terrestrial international travel, particularly in North America. Driver's license. Driver's licenses are generally not considered travel documents, since they bear no information on nationality, and conditions which would lead to refusal of a travel document have generally not been tested. However, in several provinces of Canada and U.S. states, nationals, citizens can, upon payment of an extra fee and additional information, receive an enhanced driver's license which enables border crossing between Canada and the U.S. by land and sea. De facto travel documents. De facto travel documents are documents which in practice will be sufficient to cross borders legally, but with no legal status as a travel document. Within the border controls in the Common Travel Area, travel between Ireland, the United Kingdom, the British Crown Dependencies, Isle of Man and Channel Islands, no travel documents are required by British or Irish citizens. As this requirement does not hold for others, these citizens have to establish the presumption of having this nationality, which requires in practice some form of identification. The documents used for this purpose are thus de facto travel documents. Some airlines still require passport from CTA citizens. The Nordic Passport Union means that Nordic citizens can stay in all those countries without any ID, in the same way as in the home country. In reality, an ID card is needed for travel and other situations, and any Nordic ID card is valid in the area for travel purposes. Other means of identification. Strictly speaking, it is not necessarily for an EU, EEA or Swiss citizen to possess a valid travel document to enjoy the right of free movement in the EU, EEA and Switzerland. In theory, if an EU, EEA or Swiss citizen can prove her nationality by any other means, she must be permitted to enter and reside in the EU, EEA and Switzerland without a visa. An EU citizen who is unable to demonstrate her nationality satisfactorily must nonetheless be given every reasonable opportunity to obtain the necessary documents or to have them delivered within a reasonable period of time.